Alright, here's what's on the menu. Yeah, it shouldn't be able to do that. You see these holes right here? Solution to a problem was another problem that required a solution. Hello and welcome. Today what we're going to be doing is working on one of the rare cars that I own. And what's funny about it is that when people usually see it, they think nothing of it. They think it's just, you know, your regular old four-door sedan from the 90s. However, the 1996 Infiniti I30 Touring that I have is a 5-speed with a limited slip diff in the front. Now, from all the numbers I can gather, it's something like 1 to 3% ever made were 5-speeds. And this is a 96, so it's the first year of the I30, which is essentially a Maxima, I know. But it's got the 5-speed. It's got the factory BBS wheels. I bought it from the nephew of the original owner, who wound up too old to drive. So he sold it to gave it to his son-in-law, who didn't want it, and then gave it to his nephew, and then his nephew put it up on eBay. And it took me months to get this car. I wanted one pearl white, black leather. I wanted a 99, 98, 99, but a 96 with the BBS wheels was perfectly fine. You see these holes right here and there? The gentleman was at such an age that his eyesight had declined, and he went to put the license plate on after renewing his tabs, and he put it in the wrong place. So that goes to show you, poor gentleman, he bought this car brand new, and he basically drove it until he couldn't drive anymore. I didn't drive it much, because when I bought it, it only had 88,000 actual miles on it. Story goes, he also worked for the Department of Defense, and they gave him a car or a truck that he would drive around most of the time. So this thing's never seen a winter, never seen snow, never seen salt, always garage kept. A lot of people, when they film things on YouTube, they have more controlled environments. So they have their tripod set up and their lights and everything. At home I do, but I needed a little bit of help because I was doing a full suspension refresh on that car, including all 4 struts, all the control arms and bushings. So it's a shop. It's a friend of mine's shop, so I can't always have the camera running. Especially since I was doing this on a weekday, not on a Sunday or, Saturday afternoon. Okay, all loaded up. Got everything in the trunk. I got my tool chest just in case. I don't have to be rummaging around in the guy's tools, for the small stuff at least. I'm gonna get it washed first because, man, it's been sitting for a couple months and I haven't washed it but once. I feel terrible. Man, I miss driving this thing. Alright, here's what's on the menu. Both lower control arms, since while removing the axle, we're probably going to destroy one ball joint and the sway bar links. So I got those, pads, rotors, and all 4 struts, front and rear. We've completed the suspension. I literally have the last bolt going in here. If you've ever done suspension before, this is actually the first time I do it to this extent. I did get quick struts, so it'd make things easier. When you line up the top here, the bottom was kind of off. Just put a screwdriver in it and twist it till it goes exactly where you want it to go. Now I got that right in there, and I got to start tightening that. This caliper, at first I thought this one was bad, but it sealed up. It spun right back into place fine. I just think that the emergency brake needs some adjustment, because when you pull the emergency brake, it wasn't working. However, the other side, this caliper, as I was trying to twist it back in, as it's not a compress, it's a twist. As you can see, it's off. It's more in here than it is there, and it got stuck, and it wouldn't go either way, so this is the bad caliper. We're waiting for that to show. I'm gonna clean off the hubs a little bit. I got this side in already. On the front, we did quick struts as well. We also did the passenger side axle, both lower control arms and sway bar links, and the brakes will be going on soon. You can see how all this grease here from where the axle boot, the old one, was ripped and it was just spitting it everywhere. See it back here too. Surprise, surprise! Look at all that grease. And that's where the grease came from. So add that to the list. Need an axle, passenger side. Rear brakes as well, and possibly a caliper. As soon as the car was finished, I took it for a ride to help get the suspension to settle a little bit, took a few beautiful golden hour photos with the fall colors, and then hurried up to get the car home to start work on replacing the regulator. Alright, so I got the door panel off. I had hell with this piece right here. It was not coming out. It gave me a very hard time, but I eventually just kept wiggling the door panel back and forth till the clips came out, and we'll just have to figure out how we're going to put it back together, because everything else was easy. It was the one screw in the door handle, and then a bunch of clips, and the taking out the power window button, and that was it. And so anyways, what we have here is the regulator. You can see is right here. That's where it attaches to the window, and yeah, it shouldn't be able to do that. So looks like the window regulator is bad. Now I'm gonna go ahead, and it looks like it's pretty easy. You got two here, three where it slides in and attaches to the motor, and this guy here for the actual window. And then I think I just got to take this off so I can slide it in and out. So let me show you the new one. Two here, that one for the window, and then these three and where the motor goes in. So let's go ahead and start tearing it up. So, new regulator, old regulator, and then there's the motor. You need to pull the motor off. Okay, that's not going good. Try a bigger bit. There we go. Oh, come on, you prick. Geez. Okay. So it's a few days later. This is the new one, or the new regulator, I should say, old and new, and I put the motor in where it goes. Just gotta snug it up and put it in the door. slide that back on like that. Okay, that went on a lot easier than it came off. It still doesn't feel 100%. Well, there's only one way to find out. Yeah, come on. Okay. Okay, so I just went to one of the local big box stores to get an alignment, since I'm going to have it redone in another 1,000 miles or so if the suspension settles some more. So I figured go there, that way you have a warranty on it and they'll do it. It won't cost me twice. And they said they can't do it. I said, why? There's nothing special about the suspension. They said that's not why. It's because it's a manual transmission car. There's been too many incidents. They had one in other places, and locally there's been some incidents with service workers and manual transmission cars that are translating into lawsuits, so they don't touch it. What kind of world do we live in? People who work on cars can't drive manuals? I mean, really? Really? Unbelievable. So I called up a buddy of mine. He said he can get it in a couple weeks. However, the weather changed overnight here in Michigan like it does. It was 71 day, and then the next day it dropped down to the 30s for the low. So snow's about to start flying, and I'm not driving this thing in the salt. And I've got to park it in the garage. Thankfully, I was able to solve my storage problem with another problem. I know that sounds weird, but the solution to a problem was another problem that required a solution, and that'll be the next video. As always, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.